Here we are in the library of the Royal Australasian College of Physicians, and I think that this is an absolutely fantastic library. It's really the jewel in the crown for the College of Physicians. When the college was inaugurated in 1939, it was the intent of the founding fathers that we have a library. It was written into the Articles of Memorandum that they should establish a library, and in those days, of course, it was very important. Journals and books coming from Europe and Great Britain were so terribly expensive that the average physician really couldn't afford them themselves, and a library was really thought to be an essential part of any learned institutions. The very first librarian was a guy called Leslie Carlishaw, and he was a Sydney graduate, and he went into general practice in the northern suburbs. But he was an amazing man. He had his own book collection, and this really was probably Australia's premium book collection at the time. He was appointed as the honorary librarian of the College of Physicians, and he really started it on its path. Now, when Leslie Carlishaw died, he left his collection in his will. In his will, he actually stipulated that the College of Physicians would get the first dib at the auction of his books. But unfortunately, it was during the war. The college had just been founded, and they didn't have any money. And most unfortunately, the honorary librarian of the College of Surgeons just happened to be on leave from the army in Sydney, and he heard about this, and unfortunately he snapped up the collection for the College of Surgeons, and the Carlishaw collection now lives in Melbourne. But around 1954, the Royal College of Physicians of London actually gave us 25 books, and these were quite magnificent books published before 1800, and they formed the corpus of what would become our History of Medicine library. Then we were very fortunate to get an honorary librarian called Sir Edward Ford. Now, Edward Ford was a Melbourne graduate himself, but he came to Sydney after the war as the Professor of Public Health and Tropical Medicine. And he also was an extraordinary collector of books. During his lifetime, he actually gave the college an enormous collection of about 2,000 books. And then on his death, he gave his further collection of his historical Australian works. And it's this collection that really is the magnificent beginning of the History of Medicine collection here at the college. Where we had previously collected all sorts of books, in 1982 a decision was made that this would become History of Medicine collection, and Edward Ford's collection was really the prize. But although we look around and we can see the books on the shelves, the thing that I think is just wonderful and really needs to be looked at further is the magnificent collection of archives that we have, because stored away in hundreds of cardboard boxes is the history of Australian medicine, and it's here at the college. What I'd say is, don't leave the history of medicine to the time when you're slipping into history yourself. As a young person, I think that it really is a very valuable part of the career process to get involved in this rich history. It really does add a different dimension to the practice of a physician.